Welcome to my presentation on environmental sustainability and waste tires. I'm Nathan Gutierrez, and this is assignment 5.1. First, let's define environmental sustainability. In Module 4, we learned that there is no universally agreed upon definition, and we covered the debate on what are the most useful definitions. For the purpose of this assignment, we are talking specifically about Goodland's definition of the maintenance of natural capital and the preservation of nature's source and sink functions. Sources being the raw materials that we consume to preserve our way of life, and sinks being the systems that process our waste or the output of our consumptions. And basically, we're talking about sustaining our global life support systems indefinitely, such as food, air, water, and energy. So my case study is about tires, and to give some background on why this topic is relevant, there's some pretty shocking statistics from recent studies on this issue. When we drive, our tires wear down over time, and the particle emissions from tire wear are close to 2,000 times greater than tailpipe emissions. These microscopic particles are deposited into the atmosphere and travel all around the globe, including Antarctica. They're light absorbing and accelerate snowmelt, possibly exacerbating global warming. The particles are also ultrafine, meaning they can be inhaled by humans and enter the bloodstream. It is now known that chemicals from tires are causing mass die-offs in various species of fish, most notably the coho salmon. Coho salmon populations are down 90% in California's coastal rivers and are close to extinct in certain areas where they used to be abundant. One study found that tire-derived chemicals were detected in the majority of leafy green vegetables, such as lettuce. Another article suggests that 78% of ocean microplastics are from tire wear. There's a few different reported estimates on the amount of tire-derived microplastics, but there's a developing consensus on the ubiquity of microplastics from tires. The effects of these chemicals on humans is not yet fully known. For my case study, I plan to find ways to mitigate environmental impacts of waste tire stockpiles. One of the issues with tires is that they tend to collect rainwater and can become the perfect breeding ground for mosquitoes, putting the community at risk. My first objective is to identify hotspot areas for mosquito-borne illnesses in the state of California and advise waste tire facilities on mosquito prevention. While there's much data coming out about the effects of tire wear particles, there's little to no studies on how waste tire stockpiles contribute to these problems. My second objective is to fill some of these knowledge gaps and think of simple ways that businesses can minimize their environmental impacts and keep their communities and employees safe. My third objective is to determine if tire shredding operations produce similar particulates to tire wear and use this information to make recommendations for policy or industry practices. Now we must ask, are these goals environmentally sustainable? I would have to say no. Data is continually coming out showing that tire particles are ubiquitous in our land, sea, and sky. Tire chemicals are detected in our food and in our bodies. The coho salmon, which used to be abundant, are on the brink of extinction. Our landfills cannot accept waste tires at the rate that we produce them. While the goals of my case study might lead to improved environmental impacts, the root causes of tire waste will remain and likely worsen with time. To shift this project to a more environmentally sustainable approach, one way is to take a more ecocentric perspective as opposed to anthropocentric, meaning we consider environmental impacts not just in regards to the human benefit. We can also look at simple interventions that could be implemented immediately. Knowledge in this area about the full scope of harm caused by tires will likely take years and endless studies. With what we know now, there are some simple interventions that we can take, such as putting rain gardens near waste tire facilities to filter some of the runoff from rainwater. We can ask tire facilities to cover their tires with tarps or put them in covered containers to keep rain from collecting in tires and washing particles into storm drains. Apart from addressing tire facilities, we can advocate for alternative forms of transportation, such as trains, biking, walking, and pushing for infrastructure to be built in these areas. Lastly, we can consider root causes, such as our economic system that relies on unlimited economic growth, which in this area could equate to a major threat to our environmental life support systems. With that, I will conclude this presentation. Thank you for watching today. For any questions or suggestions on my project, please feel free to reach out. And the next slide has my references.